Welcome back, everyone. Tonight I thought I would take you through the first deck that I was really giving a lot of competitive thought to for this next Jet Burn season, and much to my surprise, that would be Katsuki Bakugo IV. I do love Gentle Criminal. He's probably my favorite character from this set, but he's taking a little bit more of a fine-tuning than our little angry boy here. But let's get into it. Bakugo is a 6-hand size, 30 health character. He's got Air, Death, and Void. This is going to be a Void list for anyone keeping track. He has Enhance once per turn. Discard one card from your card pool. If it is your turn, your rival discards a card. So this is really good both on offense and defense, because defensively you could clear a block and not have to worry about blocking on progressive difficulty. And of course on your turn, you clear an attack that you wouldn't have to worry about progressive difficulty for, and your rival discards a card. So really good for just keeping the pressure on offense. And then response, if your Fury attack receives a damage penalty, it gets +3 damage. So it really makes it hard for your opponent to reduce your damage, because a lot of the reductions are -1 or -2, in which case you're usually going to net positive on the +3. But also with Void, and one of the reasons I built this deck on Void, is you have a lot of ways to trigger that response on your own on offense. And I'm really excited to get into just how aggressive this deck can be, and some of the really neat kind of niche combos that can kind of catch your opponent off guard. So going first through the attacks, we have my favorite attack of the deck, Duplicate Deception Stab. So first things first, it is a 6 diff. That's kind of expensive. It's a 4 low for 7, which is really strong. And it's a throw and a weapon. So it's not a Fury, so it doesn't quite fit the package that he wants to deal with, but follow me on this. Enhance, if this is your first attack this turn, remove one random card from your rival's hand. After this attack resolves, add that card to their hand. After this attack resolves. So you could, in theory, Duplicate Deception Stab, use the Enhance if it's your first attack this turn, which on a 6 diff, unless you're playing someone like Hood, it probably is. You remove a random card from your rival's hand. They don't get to choose, it's completely random. Then you could use your Bakugo Enhance of discard one card from your card pool. If it's your turn, your rival discards a card. And since Duplicate Deception Stab did not resolve, it was aborted, they don't get that removed card back. So with one attack, you've effectively removed 2 cards from your opponent's hand, and likely they're not going to have much in the way of trying to stop you as you go rampaging through your furious onslaught. So we've got Explosive Rebuke, obviously a perfect card for Bakugo IV, as it is his Ultra. It is a 5 difficulty, +1 mid block, 5 mid for 5. It's a 2-check, so it's a little tricky, especially when you're running high cost cards like Duplicate Deception Stab and Hold Hostage, which we'll get to later. But very well worth it. It has Enhance, discard one Fury attack from your card pool, your rival discards a card. Obviously, you're just going to clear the card before it, your rival discards another card. If you really wanted to, I suppose you could use its effect to discard itself and make your rival discard a card, but I can't see too many situations why you'd want to do that. And then as a 1A, you can use the Enhance Flip 1 Foundation. This attack is +1 to all of its keyword ratings. As you can see, it's got Powerful 2 and Stun 1, so you can make it Powerful 3 and Stun 2, and Stun 2 on a 5 mid 5, which could be 5 mid for a lot more, given our Foundation base and what Bakugo can do with his response, is very threatening and well worth the 2-check. Probably one of the more balanced pieces for offense and defense, we've got Rabble Rousing. It is a 4 difficulty, 3 high for 5, with a +2 low block. It's got a static. After this card leaves your card pool during your combat phase. Good to remember, because you can't clear this as a block to get this effect. Your rival loses 2 health, and this effect cannot reduce your rival below 1 health. So if you block with it and clear it, you don't get to burn them for 2 on their turn, but on your turn, it can help just inch them down and put a lot more offensive pressure to kind of build up the numbers to get to a kill turn if you didn't have, say, all of the damage on your attacks. It's got response. After you play this card, not attack, but card, attacks get -1 for damage for the rest of the turn. So, as soon as you play this on offense, your response will trigger at least once on every one of your attacks, including rabble-rousing. So it's effectively +2 damage on all of your future attacks, including itself. If you block with it, you can give your opponent's attacks -1 for the rest of the turn, and really mess up their kill math, so you could probably eke out a survival when your opponent was trying to end you then and there. And then it's got some pretty good deadlock pressure, which is deadlock enhance. You destroy 2 rival foundations, just point and click, those 2, gone. So you can take out their 2 best defensive pieces and really leave them in a lurch. Moving on, we have Irate Scowl. Pretty good piece for just moving you forward. It's a 2-low for 5. It has Enhance if a card has left your card pool this turn. Very likely. This attack gets 3 speed and -1 damage. So it goes from a 2-low 5 to a 5-low 4, and then with Bakugo, a 5-low 7. Very threatening, because 5-low 7 is even better than our duplicate Deception Stab at a 4-low 7. It's not a throw, but if your rival has 2 or less cards in their hand, you get to draw a card. And if you're playing this aggressive, counterplay, just tear through your opponent's hand, likely they're going to have 2 or less cards in their hand, so 9 times out of 10, this card's going to draw you a card. Then we have Angry Yelling. It is a 5 difficulty, 4 mid-5. It's got Stun 1, so another... not nothing, because they have been printing a lot of stun hate lately, but it still forces them to use that stun hate so you can kind of get it out of the way. Enhance, if your rival has 4 or more cards in their hand, they discard a card. Unless they draw a lot of cards during your turn, or you just haven't gotten off the ground yet, likely you're not going to be using this Enhance a lot, which is fine, I mean it's there, but I'm really playing it for the second Enhance. If this attack gets -1 damage, so then another +3 from Bakugo, making this a 4 mid-7. And if it's blocked, draw a card. So it's a 4 mid-7 that's likely going to draw you a card, again, 9 times out of 10. So Angry Yelling and Irate Scowl are really just there to help you draw more cards, help you just keep that offensive pressure on. Because Bakugo, he just wants to be in your face, blowing you up. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And then rounding out the attacks, we have Velocity Rush. This is a 4 high for 4 Echo card. So it's a Fury with Echo, which is really cool because Echo says, after this attack resolves, you may discard 1 momentum, play this card again as your next form, turning 1 attack into 2, which can be a really neat way to close out a game if you need to, if you just needed that 1 more attack. And because it's a Fury, it's got all of the ways that Bakugo IV can boost the damage by reducing your own damage. And it has its own enhances of, if this attack is blocked, your next attack gets +1 speed. So they block, they have progressive difficulty, and your next attack is faster. Or if they choose not to block and just take whatever damage you're throwing at them, your next attack gets +1 damage. So they didn't block, now they really have to deal with the next card that you throw, which likely could be in Velocity Rush's Echo. And then if you Echo it, and it turns into 2 attacks, after the second attack resolves, it flips face down, whoops, and you can then just clear it with Bakugo IV during your next attack. You can just clear that face down card so you don't have to worry about it. And on to Hold Hostage. So this card's a bit of a pet project of mine. Ever since I saw it previewed in the League of Villains preview season, I've loved this card, and I've tried to find ways to just abuse this card any way I can. It's a 5 difficulty enhance, so it's a little bit rough to play, especially since you can only play it on your rival's turn. Enhance, rival's turn, your rival reveals their hand. You choose 1 card revealed this way and remove it from the game. If a rival attack deals damage this turn, they may destroy 1 foundation to add the removed card back to their hand. Remove this card when it leaves your card pool. So, if you know that you can block the attack that you're dealing with now, and you reveal their hand, and you can look and see if maybe there's an attack you can't deal with, you remove that attack, then so long as you can deal with any other attacks they throw at you that turn, the card that Hold Hostage removes is gone forever. Just like with Duplicate Deception Stab, just gone. So it's another really good way, plus then you can suss out your opponent's block zones, which, considering you're trying to shred their hand out completely, that doesn't really matter, but it does give you a way to play around what your opponent can do next. It gives you an advanced look at what they're trying to do for that turn, and you can really take control on defense, especially with some of the foundations that we're going to be looking at here. Speaking of foundations, on to Reluctant Role Model. This is an obvious 4 of in Bakugo IV. It's Enhance, Flip, this attack is -1 damage. And it's Tenacious, so you can play it while this card's committed. I don't know what to say about this card other than it's just really good. You can trigger it on your attacks for offense, or if you just need that little bit of damage reduction to make sure you stay alive, you can do that as well. But mostly you're going to be using this on offense. And because it's Tenacious, you can do it at the end of a string, after you've committed it to maybe pass a check, and just stack more damage onto your own attacks. Got Keeping Areas Safe, pretty self-explanatory. It's some anti-stun, and just a way to keep your own defenses up. We've got Easily Excited, because one thing that Bakugo loves is damage. One thing he doesn't do so well is speed. So I figure once per turn, Easily Excited, you can give an attack +1 speed and taunt, which doesn't really need taunt. A lot of your attacks already have it anyway. But just +1 speed on an attack that may or may not have been able to slip through is pretty good. Then we've got Irritated. Speaking of speed, you commit this foundation, your Fury attack gets +2 speed and -1 damage. So with Bakugo's response of +3 damage, it's effectively commit your Fury attack is +2 speed, +2 damage. Pretty good for a simple commit. So other than that, not much to say about that. Then we've got Red Right's the Coolest. It's more damage pump. It's playable while committed, so Tenacious. So again, you just commit this, you commit Tenacious, building out your string, and then on the last attack, once your opponent's got no more cards in their hand, you just dump all this damage onto your final bomb. Then we've got Calling for Backup. Obviously, any card that can just flip draw you a card is going to be useful, especially when you're trying to build into a longer string and make sure that your opponent runs out of cards before you throw that final attack. We've got Elasticity, which is another fun piece of stun hate, because you can flip to cancel a stun ability and add the top card of your deck to your momentum, which can fuel Explosive Rebuke's Powerful, it can fuel Velocity Rush's Echo, or after your attack is blocked, you can flip this card and your next attack is +3 damage, which is pretty good, especially if your opponent blocked with the last card in their hand, or if you're blocking on defense and you block your opponent's attack, their next attack gets -3 damage. So it again boosts your survivability and your kill power, which is really, really fun. I've got a couple of Bring It On here. Mainly for the response, commit after your rival adds a card to their hand due to their non-character effect, they discard a card. So if your opponent's trying to draw to balance your discard ability, you can just tell them no, that draw didn't count, just discard it. Only one copy of this ability can be played per turn, which is fair, I suppose. You wouldn't want to have them draw one card and you turn 3 of these sideways to make them discard 3 cards. That's just not fair. And then as a 1A, you can enhance, flip. This attack is +1 damage for each card that's left your card pool this turn, which is usually going to be 1, maybe 2. It's not nothing, but it's mainly here for the response. Then we've got Unexpected Hero, which, again, as we discussed in the Shinzo video, flip for +3 damage when your opponent's got no more cards left in their hand is really, really good. That is really strong. Or, if they've still got cards in their hand and they discard a card, you can just commit to draw a card. So if you're not ready to go in for the kill, but you maybe want to see if you can draw more pieces, it can help you hopefully draw some of those pieces, or it can be a big damage pump. Then I've got some Fulfilled My Duties. I've been playing this game since 2017, so I remember the days of Lord Raptor running rampant on everything with Flash. I know how bad it is not to have an enhanced step, either offensively or defensively, which is why Hagakure 1 is one of my favorite characters in the My Hero Spotlight. So I always try to slot a couple of these in when I can find space for them, because Enhance, Destroy, end this enhanced step. If I know I've got big damage and you've got maybe a reset, I can just end it and you don't get to play that reset. Or if you play an attack and I know you're about to do some crazy wombo combo stuff, you get one enhance, and then it's over. I think it's really powerful, and not a lot of people are really giving credence to the whole denying your opponent an enhance step, and I think that, especially on defense, that is a very powerful ability. Then we've got Unbreakable. So this is one of my favorite defensive foundations, along with Fulfilled My Duty. As a static, it cannot be destroyed or removed by your rival, and it has response once per turn, discard 1 momentum. After your rival plays a non-character ability that would either destroy, flip, or remove a card in your stage, cancel it. So targeted flip, targeted committal, stun, any of these decks that just want to go out there destroying your staging area, you can just tell them no once per turn, which is pretty good. But I really like the enhance here to commit, destroy 1 foundation. If you block this attack, it is considered completely blocked, which means unless it's a throw, that attack does no damage. And I think that Unbreakable, in conjunction with Hold Hostage, is one of the more powerful defensive combinations you can do. Get rid of an attack that you know you can't deal with, block an attack, fully block an attack you can deal with, and then you can use Unbreakable to partial block an attack but treat it as completely blocked so it deals no damage. So those two, Hold Hostage and Unbreakable, are a really potent defensive combo that I really, really like on the Void symbol. And like I said, I've been trying to figure out how to make Hold Hostage work a lot better than it probably does. But I love it. So, moving on. Our last is a foundation I honestly forgot the first time I built this deck, Manly Friendship. Once per turn, this attack gets +1 or -1 damage, so you can give -1 damage to your opponent's attacks every turn, and effectively +2 damage to your attacks on your turn, which is just really, really good and really strong and can really keep up the pressure. And like I said, -1, if you have 3 or 4 of these, that's -3 or 4 damage over the course of a turn on your opponent's turn that you can really push your already high health total. So that, plus the fact that it can trigger your response to boost your attacks even higher for free, is pretty strong. But yeah, that is Bakugo 4, my Void list. Like I said, this is kind of a level 0 build. I'm obviously going to need to put it all together and start testing it. But this is the first deck that I looked at and thought, yeah, I'm going to try to make this competitively viable. I'm going to try to see how hard I can push this hand depletion and see where it takes me. So I know that I like to, on this channel, do more, underrated characters or newer characters or characters people don't think are real characters, or what can we do for fun. This is the first one that I really wanted to look at and be like, what can we do competitively to really try to push an aggressive hand destruction deck. So yeah, let me know if you guys would please subscribe if you like fun or interesting deck profiles. This is kind of going to be my thing here, and I'd love to have your guys' support. Let me know in the comments what you think of the deck, what you would change, or how you would want to run Bakugo 4. Or if you have any characters that you want me to take a look at and kind of see what I could do, give my take on. I'd love to hear from you guys. So until next time, take care.